Hello, how are you today? How are you this evening? I'm honored to be here with Dr. Scott Keller, doctor in natural medicine, chiropractor, licensed nutritionist, and
Ayurvedic specialist.
Ayurvedic specialist. Thank you so much, Dr. Keller, for taking the time to be here with me. And I had promised my viewers that we were going to talk about Ayurveda. So let me start by asking you, what's Ayurveda?
Well, Ayurveda, loosely translated, means to balance one's life through use of energy changes. Ayurveda is an old technique, probably the oldest form of healing that we have on the earth today. It goes back probably 5,000 to 10,000 years. It's a system that was developed by, by the ancient Vedics and Rishis of India, and gradually was passed down over many, many years. In fact, it predates what would be considered traditional Chinese medicine and traditional Japanese medicine, probably by about 5,000 to 10,000 years. Ironically, it kind of follows some of our modern day use of morphology when describing different body types and body energies here in this country. But our form of medicine is only about 100 to 200 years old, and this is going on 10,000 years. So you can imagine the difference in efficiency when you had so much time for trial and error.
So I understand there are different types of energies or doshas. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Ayurveda is based on 3 energy doshas. A dosha is basically a categorization. In American morphology, we have endomorph, ectomorph, and mesomorph. The middle dosha would be like a mesomorph. The larger person with wider build would be an endomorph, maybe slower moving. Thin, narrow person would be referred to as an ectomorph, loosely speaking. In Ayurveda, the 3 doshas definitely pertain to those types of body typing. However, it encompasses much more. The body's physical characteristics beyond, say, size, like hair color, eye color, skin color, digestion, sleep patterns. Almost every single thing the body does, every energy that we undergo for our entire time that we're on this planet is measured and described through Ayurveda. That means everything from the type of food that you digest well. Modern morphology does not do that. The type of relationships that you do well based on your energy. Now, the 3 doshas are, there's 3 names. There's Pitta, which is the very hot type. I'll give a very quick explanation of each one. The Pitta tends to be more accelerated, runs hot. Those of us who know that we're a little bit on the warm side tend to have a lot of Pitta energy. Then there's the middle energy, which is the middle dosha is Vata. That's considered the central dosha, which everything else is kind of comes as a result of. So the middle dosha, being Vata, tend to be narrow build, a little bit spacey at times, but also competent. Then there's the other dosha, which is what we consider the slow-moving dosha, which is Kapha. We've talked a little bit about this. Kapha tends to have a little bit more of a relaxed pace. Myself, as an example, I tend to be the fast-paced one, like Pitta, running around as a chiropractor, being very active. Then there are people like you who have a very relaxed, serene approach, which I, as a Pitta, find very balancing. And it's important to know that we are not any one of these. We are all 3 of these energies at the same time. It's just a matter, I know I didn't mean to take away your next question, but we are all of those things at one time.
No, for the viewers, and actually for myself, who are entering into this world of Ayurveda, can you just summarize what you just said in very simple words?
Sure.
Please?
We are all 3 of these things. That's like saying that we have a head, arms, and legs. But I only own legs. That's not possible. You can't have legs without arms. You can't have legs and arms without a head. Everything needs to be operating off of each other. And those energies are all present simultaneously. However, throughout certain times of the day, just like our natural description of our own circadian biorhythms, we have higher amounts of pitta. For instance, pitta's time is from 10 a.m. in the morning to 2 p.m. and then again 12 hours later. That time on the earth, just like our earth biorhythms, the pitta energy tends to be higher. So because pitta is the active energy, we want to utilize that time for being most active, like for exercise. And then so on and so forth with vata and kapha. Vata goes between 2 and 6, and kapha goes between 6 and 10.
So what would you say is the most important thing for us to know about our energies?
The most important thing to know is that we are always in an attempt to try to be balanced among the all three doshas. Typically, the ancient Vedics and the Ayurvedic specialists would refer to us as being predominantly pitta, in my case. In your case, predominantly kapha. Predominantly doesn't mean only. It means that you are all the other energies of vata and pitta as well. But if kapha is your predominant energy, we want to bring up the other ones because the most balance, the best digestion, the best anti-inflammation in our joints and in our organs, and the reduced aging process all takes place when we have balance among the three doshas.
Right. And would you say if our energies are not aligned, would that result in, for example, an illness or aches and pains?
Everything. It results in aches and pains, it results in inflammation, it results in weight gain. And so one of the things that's confusing to many people about Ayurveda is that what is good for one person is not so good for another. Now, you and I are a great example because you have a lot of kapha, relaxed, serene energy. We've talked about it. I particularly love this. I happen to represent Ayurvedically something that your body needs more of, which is more of a intense, fiery type of personality, digestion, activity. It brings you better to the middle, to the vata middle, and your slow approach brings me to the middle. Now, as an example for diet, what you would take in order to accelerate your system, to bring down your weight, to reduce inflammation at your joints, to reduce inflammation in your digestive tract, are the very things that would cause me more pitta inflammation. For instance, kapha typically does very well dietetically with things of an accelerated nature, like red pepper, like cayenne, like black pepper, vegetables that are very crunchy and yellow and red in color, and orange, like red and yellow and orange peppers, things that are very crunchy. Now, those things would accelerate your system, bring down your histamines and act as an antihistamine, and bring down the inflammation in your joints, in your digestive tract, and speed everything up. For me, if I took those things, I would experience heightened inflammation and potentially weight gain, because weight gain comes from digestive inflammation.
Okay, so you raise a very important question, because most of the clients, my clients and the viewers, are very concerned about weight gain. So what would you recommend for someone who doesn't know about what energy type they are? How can they know what to eat?
Okay, well, it's a great question. And without knowing your energy type, or your dosha, your Ayurvedic dosha, you can look at things simply. Now, in my family is a great example. My family, my mother, who is very much like myself, is very pitta and accelerated, reactive, a little bit heightened energy. We have wide eyes. We use a lot of gesticulations with our hands. From a personality standpoint, that reflects a very pitta, heightened type of dosha. It doesn't mean my vata and my kapha are not there. They're just lower, but we want to raise that. Now, without knowing that, in my family, whenever we would have peppers, we used as an example, we know we got indigestion. Did we know our Ayurvedic type? I knew when I was 16, 18 years old I couldn't have peppers, and they were irritating. However, I knew when I had a cooling vegetable like cucumber or dill or dairy, everything, all my indigestion, the reflux that I had, all went away. Your body is very, very smart, and Ayurveda is based on an internal knowledge that you will always make the right decision based on your own intuition. Look at what agrees with you and what doesn't agree with you. Yeah. There are tricks. Now, sometimes, this is where it gets a little clever, and it's really important that we have somebody who is a competent Ayurvedic physician, I've been doing this for 25 years. Anybody who knows how to evaluate your primary energy, because without getting too deeply into it, there are exceptions to the rule.
Where can they find you if they want to know more about Ayurveda, nutrition, how to manage their weight, or get some of your chiropractic services?
So we're here in South Florida, here in Fort Lauderdale at the Flow Life Holistic Lounge. It's at 917 Northeast 20th Street. And you can reach us on a couple of different phone numbers. The one I know offhand is my number, which gets forwarded to the office. That's 631-375-8702. Once again, 631-375-8702. And we are here at the Flow Life Holistic Lounge here in downtown Fort Lauderdale. And I think, having done this so many years, I think it's important to remember that many people who think they're following the rules based on what mainstream medicine will tell you, and yet those things aren't happening. I implore my patients to go one step farther and look at your individuality. There's 10 billion people on the planet. There's 10 billion different enzymatic makeups and 10 billion different reactions that will take place to that same thing that we believe is the answer. That's why Ayurvedic is so progressive, and it's why it's the oldest form of healing and nutrition on the planet.
Thank you. Before I let you go, I had a question. Somebody raised a question to me, and it was, she thinks she is Pitta and Kapha. Now, you just said we all have the three different types of energy. However, we have one that is dominant, right?
Truly, yes.
So in that case, that she doesn't know, she did a questionnaire online, I think, and
right.
It says that she's Pitta and Kapha. In that case, what can she do, for example, to better manage her weight?
Okay, so a few minutes ago we said, even though there are some general guidelines for ways to manage one out of balance dosha, there are exceptions to the rules. Now, ironically, and I don't want this to sound contradictory, the majority of us are two doshic, dual doshic. What that means is if you just visualize 0 to 100 and say maybe you're 90 on Pitta, like I was at one time, and 87 on Kapha, that would represent only a difference of maybe 3 to 5 point difference on a particular rating scale. So I would say those two are so close. I am definitely dual doshic, Pitta Vata for me. Now in her case, Pitta Kapha is a little bit less common, but I've seen a lot of it because you can have certain areas of your body that are very Kapha. Let's say genetically you come from a country where people tend to be a little bit wider and closer to the earth. I won't mention any countries, we know what they are. But yet you come from another part of your genetic lineage that indicates that you have a very heightened personality and outgoing and active in type A in your activities. So your body may be operating on a more Kapha type of structure, and your personality may be operating more on Pitta. It's less common. It's more common to be like Vata Pitta, Pitta Vata, or Kapha Vata, Vata Kapha, because Vata is that middle dosha. To jump over, I've seen a lot of it, but it's less common.
So in order to know more about nutrition, really it's about getting educated, because if you're Pitta and Kapha and there are certain food items that actually benefit one but do not benefit the other one,
definitely
there is a contradiction there. So I guess we have to get educated and see what works for us.
Well, that's very well said, Annabella. I think what needs to be done is you have to find out what area of your life that you're experiencing those categories. Like we just used the example of having a personality that was Pitta, but a body that's Kapha. Does her body now need nutrition that's generated on speeding up Kapha? Typically, yes. Do you need to use your intuition about what might be irritating? Definitely.
And use the intuition to connect with your body.
Truly, when in my practice, I've been in practice 26 years, and we always leave off with the same thing, and that is, if you have a good set of hands and you can do great treatments for people, that's wonderful. But a chimpanzee can do that. But the thing that really makes the difference is helping people get in touch with their bodies. So without having to turn to someone like me, they themselves know. And what greater sense of empowerment is there than for you to be able to heal yourself?
That's very well said.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview, and thank you. I know it's probably like half an hour past 8 on a Friday evening, but I'm sure this interview will be seen by a lot of people, and love you. Bye.